Hi everyone, welcome back to Sarah's How to Get Through. I'm thinking about maybe changing the name of this. I don't know what a good name is because I don't know whether that really helps people to find these videos so that I can help people on and people can help me get through our difficult times. I'm not happy with this camera angle. Doesn't have to make me look jowly. That's better. Look, 10 years younger. But I look a bit like Anne Robertson now. Her mouth does that. As I've said in previous videos, my difficult time is my divorce and separation from my husband that I'm currently going through at the moment. We split up about 8 months ago and the decree nisi has come through, and so we're just in the final stages of it really in terms of getting the whole thing completed. Today I want to talk about those initial stages, which are probably the most difficult stages in terms of your mental state. The first few weeks are really difficult, as some of you who've been through it will know, and those of you who are currently going through it will also know. But you are in a kind of state of shock. It's almost like receiving a physical trauma, almost I would describe it as, because your body and your mind are just totally consumed with everything that's going on. And one of the most difficult things I find, and I still find today actually, occasionally, is the constant brain activity, the constant dialogue that is going on in your head that is really difficult to switch on. I describe it like a CD or a record player that just goes on and on and on and on in your mind, and it's really difficult to switch off. And the most difficult time to switch it off is when you go to bed at night, and it's very difficult to sleep because this activity and this stimulation is going on in your head and you can't stop thinking about it. So you become tired, you become irritable, you get upset, and it becomes even more difficult to cope with just life generally because you're so knackered because of all this rubbish going on in there. So the question is, how do you stop that? How do you allow yourself to turn off and relax and have a good night's rest, which is what you really need in those early days, actually. And so I was wondering what other people do to be able to give themselves this brain break, is what I call it, because it's so valuable, so that you can recharge your batteries, recharge your emotional resilience, and getting rest and getting sleep and being able to turn off that constant blur is really important. This is a technique I used when I had a cancer scare some years ago, and as those of you who have suffered from cancer will know, that when you get the news that you've got it, or potentially have got it, it's really horrendous, but it also, again, you get that kind of constant dialogue going in your head and it's very difficult to switch off. What works for me is I turn the radio on at night. I try and relax. I try not to have too much screen time straight before bed. I know some people like to watch the TV and go to sleep with that on very low, but for me the light of the screen is distracting. Some people read a book or whatever, which is kind of obviously traditional. Initially I had just turned the radio on. I had it on very low. I had it on a really boring channel, where it was just a monotonous voice just kept talking. So I had it on loud enough so I could just about hear it, but not too loud that I'd really tune in. And I found that really useful, because I would start to listen, but then whatever they were talking about was really quite dull. So eventually I just would drift off to sleep, and I still use that today. But what I found now is that there's an excellent app. It's called, in fact I'll bring it up on my phone. It's called iPlayer Radio. It's actually designed for the iPhone rather than the iPad. I don't think there is a version for the iPad. Can you see it? iPlayer is just loading up there. And what is brilliant, I mean, you can see I hope you can see that because of the reflection, is all the radio stations, BBC radio stations, they're all there, and you can just click on. So you can either click and listen to live radio, but also what they have here are podcasts, and you can search and have all different radio stations. So if there's a radio station that you particularly enjoy, you can listen to a podcast. And I found those podcasts are really useful because they're just about the right time. Some, well, depending on which podcast you listen to, obviously, but the one I listen to is about 45 minutes long. It's the Woman's Hour Daily Podcast, and it's really good because they talk about all sorts of stuff on there. Some of it's really interesting, actually. Sometimes I'm listening too well. But I set that off on my iPad on the floor next to my bed, or you can do it with your phone on the side of your bed or whatever, and just set it going. As I said, on a slightly lower level than you would listen to normally, just so that it drowns out the background noise, but it's not loud enough. Background noise. Background noise. What's a background noise? But it's not loud enough that you're going to tune in. I'd be really interested to hear from other people as to what techniques they do to turn off the brain. And it's amazing how you can be feeling okay, and then suddenly something just pops from nowhere into your head, and it sets off a whole kind of chain of activity just when you're nodding off to sleep, and that is one of the most difficult things as well. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that little technique that I use to switch off at night time. If anyone else has got any ideas or anything they want to share, we could talk about that, or if you'd put it in the comments. If you could just like and comment, subscribe if you can, I'd love that, because I've been looking on YouTube for something like this to help other people, and I can't find anything, which is why I decided to do it myself, because I just like to hear from real people as to how they're getting through stuff like this, because it can be a very lonely place at times, and so it's just nice to share, and it's nice to see people, real people as well, going through it. Hope you like my lights, by the way. I just put those up because I thought they were pretty. It's coming up to Christmas. I'll do some more posts about how to sort out Christmas when you're splitting up from your husband, because that obviously has all sorts of shenanigans and difficulties. And New Year as well, what you do at New Year. Who's going to have the kids at that dreaded midnight? I'm not looking forward to that myself, but I'll do another post about that another time. Anyway, hope you're all okay. As I said, like, thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. Comment, share, talk. Let's support each other, and don't forget, just be kind to yourself. Take care.